This podcast is part of the Deluxe Edition Network. To find other great shows on the network, head over to deluxeeditionnetwork.com. That's deluxeeditionnetwork.com.
Hey everybody, this is Chase from Barrel Age Flicks. Go ahead and check out our Patreon for raw, uncut footage and early access to all of our episodes. The link is in the description, and it's only $5 a month. Thanks for listening.
Do you think Phil's gonna come out and see a shadow?
Punxsutawney Phil!
That's right, woodchuck chuckers. It's Groundhog Day!
Will you be checking out today, Mr. Connors?
Chance of departure today, 100%.
Ned Ryerson, I did the whistling belly button trick at the high school talent show. Bing! Ned Ryerson got the shingles real bad senior year, almost didn't graduate. Bing! Again! Ned Ryerson, I dated your sister Mary Pat a couple times till you told me not to anymore. Well?
Ned Ryerson?
Bing!
Bing!
Watch out for that first step, it's a doozy!
You know what you may need, Mr. Connors?
A biopsy.
A psychiatrist.
I was in the Virgin Islands once. I met a girl. We ate lobster, drank pina coladas. At sunset, we made love like sea otters. That was a pretty good day. Why couldn't I get that day over and over?
Hey, who else could go for some blackjacks right now?
I don't know, Phil. Maybe it's not a curse. It just depends on how you look at it.
This is pitiful. 1,000 people freezing their butts off waiting to worship a rat. What a hype. Groundhog Day used to mean something in this town. They used to pull the hog out and they used to eat it. You're hypocrites, all of you. I didn't just survive a wreck. I wasn't just blown up yesterday. I have been stabbed, shot, poisoned, frozen, hung, electrocuted, and burned.
Oh, really?
And every morning I wake up without a scratch on me, not a dent in the fender. I am an immortal.
Where are we going?
Oh, let's not spoil it.
Oh, let's not. Oh, I got that.
Hey everybody, this is Barrel Age Flicks. I'm Lenny, yeah man, and this is...
Hey, this is Ron. Let's drink and talk some movies.
And...
What's going on, you fucking nerds? This is Tyler. Let's talk about some modern mythology.
we also have...
This is Stu. Let's drink, motherfucker.
And finally...
Ragnar. Time to nut up or shut up. Let's go.
And Lenny. I'm not fucking here, folks.
Happy Groundhog's Day, everybody.
Dude, it's not fucking Groundhog's Day. It is Groundhog Day.
Oh, come on.
There's not a battalion of groundhogs.
Groundhogs.
It's not like President's Day where the groundhog owns the fucking day. It's Groundhog Day.
Yeah, welcome back, fucking Tyler. Whatever. Anyways, so this is Tyler's pick, Groundhog Day. So we are definitely very excited about this episode. And of course, Tyler has to pick the drink, which we're going to drink. But we also have a little bonus here. Tyler's going to try out the drink that we tried out during Weird Science episode.
Yeah.
Stu, why don't you hand it off to you so you can tell them all about it?
All right. So this is the wonderfully, amazingly delicious. It's something that the flavor just stays with you forever. Jepson's Malort from good old Chicago. You know what? Listen to the Weird Science episode. You get the whole rundown and history of it. Let's just go ahead and take a shot, buddy.
Ugh, jeez, man. It smells like fucking rubbing alcohol.
Enjoy.
Yep, that's bad.
Hold on.
Bad. That's fucking bad. Dude, what? Like, why does it stay on your tongue?
Yeah, it fucking lingers. What kind of taste would you say that? I mean, what does it taste like to you?
It tastes like a plumber's asshole.
Oh my God.
Jeez, really?
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Wow.
It's fucking gross.
I don't know. Your definition, though, of delicious is really different than anybody else's.
I know.
Yeah, no, he's a fucking sadist.
Well, the thing about it, like, Stu, you actually didn't mind it at all. Like, you could actually take that as a punishment shot if you wanted to, because Stu tried to make a whole thing of how this should be our, like, universal punishment shot, because it's more of a punishment because of how much it lingers on your tongue. So
yeah, no, I actually kind of agree with that. Like, that's, as much as I don't want to, that's fucking terrible.
Well, let me ask you a question. Which is worse, that or Tube 60?
That.
Really?
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
It really is, man.
Yeah.
Like, so the Tube 60 tasted like a air freshener. This is This is just bad.
Yeah.
It's really, really bad.
Try having it with tequila right afterwards.
Yeah.
It's even worse.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. I had a punishment shot on the Weird Science show, like literally before we did it. So I couldn't do it first.
Sit on your tongue with it.
It was like mixture, and it did not do well in my stomach. So
Dude,
yeah,
I'm trying to like wash this down with.
It's not going to work.
It's not going to. It's going to stay there for almost like 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's like the super super hot sauce or like the hot salsa like in a Mexican restaurant.
Yeah. Nothing you can do.
The volcanic fiesta or whatever. Yeah. Like, and it just like it doesn't matter how many chips, how many fucking glasses of milk you drink. Like it just won't go away.
Your taste buds suck it in. It just sits there.
So what is the drink that we're going to be trying out today?
Oh fuck, I can't remember. Even though I don't like ciders, I selected this one purely because of the name. This is a Woodchuck Amber Ale Hard Cider. It's made in Middlebury, Vermont. This is their flagship cider that these guys made in their 2-car garage back in 1991. They've since gone on to produce an entire line of ciders. It's fairly popular apparently. I think I've seen it before, but I've never had it. So this is going to be new for me. It's described as a sweet, well balanced with a refreshing apple taste and a clean finish. It has a 5% ABV. I know Ron here doesn't like ciders.
This is definitely up Lenny's alley. Seriously, yeah. Lenny would probably be shitting his pants right now because he's not having this.
All right.
All right, guys, you ready?
All right, fellas, bottoms up.
Prost.
There we go. All right.
Cheers.
Oh. Yeah, tastes like a cider.
Yes, it does. Mm-hmm. It's good though.
Yeah, well, I disagree.
Well, your definition of delicious is different.
Oh God, that doesn't even taste like fucking. There's alcohol in this because I don't even taste it.
Yeah, I mean it's only 5%.
It tastes more like a fucking soda.
Yeah. No, you know what? They taste like you go to the store and you get apple cider like in the fall, for your your kids and everything. Like that's what it tastes like.
Yeah, it tastes like the sparkling cider. The big bottles that a lot of people get for like New Year's and like holidays and stuff like that. That's basically what it tastes like, and I'm not really a big fan of those at all. If you like something sweet and something that's more of a easy drink you got to slam like a shitload of these in order to get drunk and everything else. But the fact is, this is more up anybody who's got a sweet tooth and really loves apple juice in a way. I'd give this a half thumb, just because it is good for the show, especially with the woodchuck and everything else. But I wouldn't go out of the way to buy this for me. This isn't my type of drink, so I'd rather have like a beer. So don't work for me. So
what happened to the other half of the thumb?
He ate it.
What are you talking about?
It fell off from his diabetes.
I give it half of his diabetes. I give it half a thumb. Like, will I lose it like in a lawnmower or something? Like,
I don't know. It's just I'm trying to give it a sort of really, I'd give it no thumbs to tell you the truth. You know what? Yeah, fuck it. I'll change my review. No thumbs. I will never drink this. Fuck it. If you have a sweet tooth, drink it. But this ain't my type of drink. 2 thumbs down or no thumbs up. There you
pick one.
Yeah. No. All right. No thumbs. There you go. How about you, Ragnar?
Jeez. I was gonna say he lost half his thumb in his ass. But
you motherfucker! No, the fucking up the ass shit. It's always gonna fucking haunt me.
Yes.
A thumb up your ass will haunt you.
Yes, it will.
Yes, it will.
I'll give it 1. It's not bad. I mean, if you like red apples, it tastes more or less like a fucking red apple, but in alcohol form. So I won't buy them. I'll fucking drink it if you're gonna give it to me, though.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's not bad.
I'll also go with the 1. Same reasons that Ragnar said. It is what it is. It's what it advertised as. It's an apple cider.
Most hard ciders are more or less the same almost anyways.
Yeah.
Very similar, yeah. It's okay. It's mediocre. It's forgettable.
Yeah.
I will say this. It is better than that fucking pumpkin one that we had.
Yes.
I think, which show was that for? I think that was for...
we had the one for the Season of the Witch.
Was
the Warlock?
That was the Warlock. No, but we had... during the Halloween show.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did the 2 drinks. I believe we had that one, and that one was fucking horrible. I mean, that one was horrible. I'd rather drink this than that, so...
Yeah, like the pumpkin tastes like settled at the bottom.
Yeah.
Like it literally got worse as you drank it.
Yeah.
But a lot of our drinks, like they actually kind of like, they get like a little bit better or it's tolerable as you go on, but that one actually got fucking worse.
Chase loved it, though. Chase was definitely into it.
Yeah, well, I question a lot of Chase's preferences, so... Story doesn't matter. Characters don't matter. Fuck off, man.
What's yours?
Sorry, a little bitter.
How do you really feel? Venom. I really have.
So, yeah, dude. the description they give on the website about the sweet, well-balanced, refreshing taste with a clean finish, like it's true. But being that I don't like ciders, I don't really like sweet drinks. I'm gonna give this a no thumbs. I'll never ever buy this. If you like ciders, then you'll probably dig this, especially like how easy it is to drink. But if you don't like ciders, like just keep walking. So it's got a groundhog on it, whatever.
All right, let's go ahead and get into the film.
Cool. All right, so I'm sure that you guys have probably seen Groundhog Day.
Oh, yeah.
But for those of you that haven't, so I'm going to do a quick synopsis of the film. Phil Connors, played by Bill Murray, is a Pittsburgh weatherman who is arrogant and egocentric and completely self-serving. He believes that he is destined for better things. This makes him really, really bitter, as he's made to cover the Groundhog Day celebration in Puxatawny, PA, year after year after year. However, this year, Phil gets stuck in a time loop where he relives Groundhog Day every day. He starts off in denial, but then quickly realizes that he can use the time loop to serve his own selfish desires. He robs a cash truck, takes advantage of women, to include his own producer, Rita, who proves to be resistant to his manipulation. As he learns that he can't escape with Groundhog Day, he falls into despair and tries to kill himself in every way possible. When he's unsuccessful at that, he believes himself to be a god. Not the god, a god. After spending time with Rita, Phil has a renewed sense of life. He begins to spend eternity to learn how to play piano, ice sculpt. More importantly, he learns that helping others is a better endeavor than anything he could achieve for his own selfish ends. And this seems to break the curse, and him and Rita wake up on February 3rd.
Yeah. The one question I have to ask you this.
What's up?
Do you feel like this movie is a chick flick?
I could see that. Yeah, because what happens between him and Rita is a love story, but really, man, like that is a human story.
Yeah,
you can say like that it's a chick flick because like the romance aspect of it. But the fact that Phil starts off as a terrible person, he's smug, he's selfish, he's deceitful, he's arrogant and lustful, but he ends up learning humility and charity and generosity, and he does this all with the help of Rita.
Yeah.
Who is the complete total opposite of Phil at the beginning of the movie.
Exactly.
Yeah, she's charitable, she's generous and everything. She thinks about others. She has like this sort of enthusiasm about life.
Yeah.
You kind of see that during like their dinner where she's just like, I just kind of like to just do things, kind of see like where things go. Like you can tell she's really, really excited and bright-eyed about life.
Yeah.
And Phil's not. He's real cynical, and he's the complete opposite.
Yeah.
Harold Ramis even describes their relationship as a sort of a Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
And he actually talks about how
I never thought about that. That's actually a good point right there, a Beauty and the Beast thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Harold Ramis was a very smart guy. He complimented Andie MacDowell, the actress who plays Rita, on how beautiful and luminous she is.
Yeah.
And he says and on the opposite of the end of that, you have Bill Murray. Well, he's got a few miles on him. So yeah, dude. My point is that Phil starts off being like this really cynical, smug guy, and with the help of Rita, he becomes a better person. And I think that we can all kind of agree here that there is something to be said about the relationship that you have with your wife or your spouse. They can, provided you have a healthy relationship and not a toxic one. If you have a good, healthy relationship, that you can tell because that person that you're with makes you a better person.
Right.
They make you try harder.
Yeah.
They make you if you're kind of like a hard person, kind of an asshole, kind of a smug person, like Phil was, they kind of soften you up a little bit.
Right.
Sometimes even guys that they're kind of soft or you're kind of passive, they'll actually become more assertive and more aggressive because they know they have to do that in order to provide and protect their wife and their kids.
Yeah. Yep.
You would hope.
But again, man, a healthy relationship, not a toxic one.
What did you think of Bill Murray altogether in this role, though? Do you think he was just perfect for this role?
Absolutely, man. It's so obvious, that Harold Ramis, he kind of wrote this for him.
Yeah.
I haven't read anything where he actually did. Apparently, there was a time when they were looking at Tom Hanks for this role, but they decided that he was too nice.
He wouldn't have been believable.
No, he wouldn't have.
I can't see that at all.
No, not at all. But they believe that he was too nice for the role, and Bill Murray just kind of fits into it perfectly. I wouldn't say Bill Murray's a good actor because you look at him in Stripes, you look at him in Ghostbusters. He's more or less kind of playing the same guy.
Yes.
Yeah, he does because I also think of him in Scrooge as almost the same type of character. I mean, just the way with all the pride and all the, just being basically an asshole and everything.
Same personality.
Yeah. No, that's a great point, man. I saw a lot of parallels between Scrooge and this.
Yeah.
Just the kind of the way he becomes a better person is just a little different. And, we'll get into the time loop and how long it's supposed to be or how long you guys think it is. But yeah, it's definitely a little bit of a different movie. So
one role that Bill did it was kind of outside his area was Lost in Translation.
Yeah.
You saw some of the prototypical Bill Murray in there, but overall, I think he played more of the depressed part that he did in Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
Throughout a majority of that movie, that weird, disjointed way, and I actually thought that was one of his best roles personally.
And that was really dark too. I mean, I remember we talked in one of our past episodes of how dark that was in this movie, and how you said that this is actually a really dark comedy.
Yeah,
because of the whole scene of him trying to kill himself almost every I mean, how many times did he kill himself?
I mean, I didn't count
on scene or on camera or what he implied.
What he implied, because I remember it was a huge number.
It was much more than what they actually ended up showing.
Yeah, because he talks about being stabbed and shot and everything.
Yeah,
you never saw that.
Yeah. Set on fire, frozen. It's like that. It just listing everything. And I'm sure he tried numerous ways of doing it, too, of those things. So
it kind of sounds like every way possible.
Yeah,
he's immortal.
Yep. I mean, and that was believable to me also. If I could definitely see hitting that point of just giving up and looking for a way out after being stuck in what feels like forever.
Mm-hmm. Dude, why are you still drinking it? You don't look like you're enjoying it at all.
Because I'm not going to fucking waste it. I mean, it has to. I mean, we don't like Stu says, we don't waste alcohol here. I'm not you. Handing off your drink to somebody else. Yeah, fucking take it.
It's gross. No, if it's gross, I'm not gonna drink it. All right. So I believe the character Phil himself is I think he's from a small town like Puxatawny. because there's a few hints that you get throughout through the very beginning of the film that kind of hints at that. And I think he grew up in a town that was nearby.
Yeah.
And because he has such disdain for the townspeople, and then he runs into Ned, who he went to high school with. And you have to imagine, all the guy does,
oh my God.
All the guy does is sell insurance. So it's not like he traveled for that.
Yeah.
So I think that part of the reason why he hates the people from towns, from Puxatawny, why he hates the townspeople, is because he sees that as the old version of himself, and and thinks well, I'm a big time weatherman now. That's not me. I'm big city. And that's why he kind of hates them. But that's also why he left. This is also highlighted when the police shut down the road due to the blizzard, and the cop says, you can either go back to Puxatawny or you can stay here and freeze to death. And he looks back and there's a beat or two, and he goes, I'm thinking, he's actually considering I'll stay here and freeze to death rather than I can go back to that fucking town.
Yeah. Oh my God! And Needle Nose Myers, the actor Stephen Tobolowsky, Ryerson. Yeah, but you called him Needle Nose Myers.
Needle Nose Ned,
or something like that. Yeah, the whole fact that he's played in a lot of roles. I think he's one of those characters that's always got short roles in just about everything. I remember him being in Basic Instinct and everything else. That guy played the most biggest annoying character ever. I mean,
but he did such a great job.
Yeah, and that's what I loved about it. And the scene when Bill Murray gives him that fucking hug, when he's hugging him and says, "When are you working late tonight?" or something like that.
Yeah.
My God,
I don't know where you're going, but can you call in sick? Dude, that was the best. I love that so much.
And then Ned just freaking the fuck out. He's I gotta go.
Oh man, but he does good. I've seen him in so many other roles. Like I said, he's one of those characters that is always put in a movie, maybe for 5 or 10 minutes and stuff like that, and he plays a role great. So I thought that was just entertaining to watch him and how their dynamic between each other, the chemistry and everything else, and it just worked out. And how the fucking Bing, I mean, that Bing just came out so you could fucking loved it. I mean, I remember I called you were talking about make sure you put the Bing in the title.
Yeah, It's so fucking annoying, man. Yeah, everything was Bing! Fuck, man. Dude,
but we all have known people like that.
Yes.
Yeah, when he when he punches Ned in the face, I was just I felt that. I was like, yes. So, but yeah, dude. And what's funny is one of it's actually, it turns out to be the last day of the last Groundhog Day that he has. He buys all that insurance from Ned.
Yeah.
Everything, fucking accidental, short term, fucking everything. And then he wakes up the next day. It's like he's going to pay for all that insurance for no fucking reason.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about that. I mean, he was basically doing everything to become a better person at the end, and you can just see now, because I remember when him and her were like walking out, and he says, let's live here. Like, he was actually happy in that town after he's been there for almost, it would seem like a lifetime, just being in that whole time loop and everything.
Yeah.
So there is one weird little theory about Ned. Ned's actually Satan.
Dude, I heard about this. Yes.
Ned's the reason Phil is stuck in the time loop.
Really?
Yes.
Where did you hear this?
It's just a weird little rumor that's been going on
It's
for years.
It's an ongoing theory.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
And it wasn't until Phil made the deal with the devil that he was allowed to leave the time loop. And him buying all that insurance was the deal with the devil.
Yeah, no, that's actually smart.
Yeah. Because Ned just kind of shows up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, we went to high school together, and you can kind of tell that Phil just
recollection.
He just kind of goes,
even to the point where he was dating. He went out with Phil's sister a couple times until Phil told him not to.
Yeah, he's like, I don't remember you.
That's kind of something you're gonna remember. I'm assuming, if you're telling some dude not to date your fucking sister, I'm assuming you're kind of remember that dude's an asshole or a fucking nerd, or there's a reason you didn't want that dude to date your sister. That's not something you're just going to randomly forget, I'm assuming.
And this is something I have to ask, is the whole fucking thing that Ned was, he was talking about, the thing he did in school for the talent show, the whistling out of his belly button.
Yeah.
What the fuck? How do you even do that?
That's why for talent.
Yeah, I guess it's like a ventriloquism.
That's got to be fucking crazy what he did. So all I know is that, yeah, he played an amazing, annoying character. I would hate to, because like you said, I think we've all met people that are like that, where they have those quirks where they constantly do over and over again. You just want to get away. You just want to punch him in the face and get the fuck out.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, but yeah, Ned just kind of shows up. I think he's like, I actually kind of like that theory that he's the devil in disguise.
Yeah, no, that's actually really cool.
Yeah, and he's like, and everything about this shit, about the movie was recurring, but he's like, he just kind of shows up, and yeah, like Stu said, like it's not until he makes that deal with them that that finally the time loop is broken.
Yep.
But that actually leads me to a question. So what do you guys think exactly it is that actually broke the time loop?
Now, are you going to talk about the sappiness? He's finally becoming a good person, and he's found love. And
see, the thing is, I can't say it's love, because he and Annie MacDowell's character, what's her name? Rita. Him and her character, it seems like in the middle of the movie when she was trying to find out and everything else that they even laid in bed together. So, you haven't disappeared yet. I figured it was like right then and there, and then it didn't happen. He woke up again. So it wasn't, I don't think it was love, because you can already tell that she was starting to like his character.
He still wasn't being himself. He was
still trying to find his way, basically. Yeah.
Him confronting his past.
Yeah.
I think is what probably fucking broke it, because like you said, the possibility of him growing up in a very tight small town like that is very high, with with such disdain that he has for being there. And because if you look, most people that live in a small town fucking hate living in a small town, because everybody knows everybody's fucking business.
But it's weird how a lot of people end up back there.
Yeah, exactly. And so his disdain for it, I think, brought him back there and ended up in his own personal hell loop for it. And like I said, Ned could have possibly been the fucking devil. And at the very end, he did the deal with the devil.
Yeah.
I think he, just like the Grinch, his heart grew, which is sappy and bullshit. But
actually, that's a good comparison. The Grinch. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. It's kind of like it's almost like Scrooge. He's a Scrooge character. He's like he's basically like Ebenezer Scrooge, where he's a horrible character, mean to everybody, and then he completely changes for good. So it's actually, this is a story that's used a lot. A lot of movies steal a lot of stories, like Dances with Wolves. There's a lot of movies that deal. This is almost the same type of story as The Grinch Stole Christmas, Ebenezer Scrooge. I'm sure there's other ones out there where basically it's a like the whole villainous character turning into a really good character, changing for the better.
Yeah, no, it's an old trope, and it's actually a good one. I really appreciate when a character starts off as a horrible, unlikable person.
Yeah,
and they actually grow throughout the film, and by the end of it, they're actually somebody that can be a role model.
Yeah, and I think his life is even going to be a whole lot better. Like I said, he wants to live there forever, live there with Rita and everything else, and he changes for good. And because he was a complete asshole, especially to what's his name?
Prima Donna.
Yeah, Prima Donna. But what's the guy that actually said that? Larry,
yeah.
Which is the actor's name.
Chris Elliott.
Chris Elliott played great. And I felt sorry for the fucking guy because especially when the guy was up on the stage trying to go for the holding when they're bidding.
Auction.
Oh my God. You get
cents.
the two old women that go for him and everything else. But he was such a prick to him altogether. I mean, every single time. But then you could see him talking behind his back. Like you see the part where Bill Murray is laid on the table and he's dead. And they're looking at him to make sure he view his body and everything. Yeah. And he said, "Oh, we liked him very much. Yeah, he was a good guy, a very good guy." And then you just see him say, "Move the blanket back over." He didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, no, there's something to be said about you can kind of tell how much, like, whether a person was a good person or not by who shows up at their funeral.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't like the guy, you're not going to waste your time.
Yeah.
Like I got to go by the DMV or something like that. Like, or whatever. Like I got to buy stamps in the post office.
Yeah.
But yeah. So you're talking earlier about how this is kind of like a Scrooge character. So Ron, I got a question for you. Is this a Christmas movie?
Oh, come on.
No, with your bullshit list, like there's snow. He's a Scrooge character.
There's no Christmas gifts. There's no Christmas light. Well, actually, there is Christmas lights.
There are.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that.
No, he learned the value of life. That's his gift.
Yes. No, you're right. There is.
He did give gifts to people.
But there's no Christmas music. So there's a couple on the list that are on there for a Christmas movie, but not. But come on, guys. I mean, seriously, you're really going to ask me that question with Groundhog Day?
Yeah. Your rules bullshit.
Oh, fuck you, man.
All right.
It's not my rules. It's angry video game nerds' rules. So
all right. So going back to the time loop and what broke it. So a funny thing actually happened after this movie was released. Harold Ramis got the word that there were actually Hasidic Jews outside the movie theaters picketing. And,
really?
Yeah, and Ramis being Jewish himself, he's like, oh my God, like why are they protesting my movie? And he said, and whoever was on the phone with him said they're not. The signs actually say. Do you find yourself living the same day over and over again? And then he started getting phone calls from Catholic priests and pastors from Baptist churches and yogis and Buddhists, all saying that this movie is what we've been talking about. This is our philosophy. This is our how we view you should live your life. And they start getting phone calls from psychologists, psychotherapists, saying this is what we try to tell our patients all the time because they find themselves in these loops. They find themselves in these bad habits where they're living the same day over and over again. And it's only when you learn the value of serving others and being more generous and being more charitable that you find the ability to break these habits and get out of that time loop and be able to live your life better and differently than you were before. And so, in my opinion, that's what I think is what broke the time loop.
That's interesting.
Yeah. No, that's actually very interesting.
It's interesting that he got all those phone calls.
But it makes sense
about the movie.
Yeah.
Every major religion or thought school is all basically teaching the same fucking thing. Just try to live a good fucking life and good things happen.
Yeah.
And it's not always things too that are just sort of perceived as bad because say you're you're a heroin addict, you're a junkie. Mm-hmm. You have this addiction and that's what keeps you in this loop. You wake up every single day, you're jonesing oh man, how the fuck am I going to get money? I got to get a hit. And they can't think about anything else except for that next hit. And they know that they need to they need to get a job. They need to repair the relationships with their family and their loved ones and everything. But all they can think about is that the next hit. And so before then, they're doing all kinds of crazy things, sucking dick for coke. R.I.P. Bob Saget. And they're caught in this cycle. And but then there's things out there where people think they're doing the right thing. Where they're hyper focused on a job, they're hyper focused on getting a promotion. They're hyper focused on making more money, and they start to neglect other parts in their life, other people in their life.
Yeah,
and they get caught up in the cycle. And it's only when they realize that is not the most important thing. It's the ones that they love, their spouse.
Yeah,
that they realize that they've been doing it wrong the whole time. All right, so I have a question for you guys. What would you do if you were immortal? What would you do if you were caught in a time loop and you realized you could do whatever you want? There was really no consequences.
But it's only for a day that repeats. So it isn't you are very limited, in my opinion, of what you could do. I mean, you can amass this massive fortune and rule this massive land or whatever. No.
Why not?
Because you have a day. And so you have only 24 hours before the clock resets. And even if you're trying to, you can only travel but so far before that clock hits. So you're very, very fucking limited. And not only can you the travel limited, it's also limited by the blizzard that's coming in that's shutting everything down on top of that. There's nothing you can do about that. So you're stuck in that geographical area for 24 hours. So honestly, I would have probably done a lot of the same shit that I'm sure.
Yeah, I was talking to Samuel last night when you were watching this, and when he was doing the whole thing, being the smart and trying to learn the chick Nancy. Yeah. I think Nancy something, and basically trying to like milk himself in so he can fucking get laid by this chick. I would have done the same fucking thing. I'm not gonna lie. It's just like, you know what, life is pointless now. You're just gonna be repeating the same day over and over again. It's like, fuck, let's have fun with it.
I would have fucked every single woman. I don't care how old they were. Even the old
even the bed and breakfast.
Yes. Yeah. All right. It would have been like a checklist. All right.
But you're guaranteed.
No, bucket list. Yeah.
You're guaranteed to have a fucking hot meal.
Yes.
In the morning.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. I would have, and see if I could have worked out some way to, have, a gangbang with those old biddies that he changed. Just out of straight boredom. All right. Just give yourself a challenge.
But would you guys feel like you'd get as depressed as he did, like to the point where it's like, this is getting too much and I just want to end my life?
Because you're getting sick of it. The other side of the coin, I probably would have had a goal one day to see if I could murder everybody in that town. See if I could get away with somehow
now you're going really dark.
Everybody. At that point where he's trying to kill himself, then fuck it, I'm taking everybody with me as well. All right, just to see if I could somehow kill an entire town in one day.
Wasn't there another movie that actually copied this that just came out, like more of a horror movie? It's actually almost like a trilogy now, or it's 2 sequels. About a chick who keeps getting killed by a serial killer. Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Didn't that kind of copy the same formula?
Happy Death
Day.
Yeah.
They copy the same formula, but to the point where you're immortal and you can do whatever the fuck you want, basically. But
in that one there though, she only she can only die so many times.
Okay, so I haven't
if I remember right.
Yeah, and was well, actually, I'm not gonna say that because actually I haven't seen the whole thing through. I know that from what I saw of it, she was a horrible person, just like Phil is. I don't know. I don't know if the movie ends with her being a better person or not.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
Spicy boner.
Yeah.
Spicy boner.
Drink up.
All right, give it to me.
Give me your shot glass, buddy.
I thought we were doing the Jepsons.
Go ahead and do the Jepsons then. Yeah, he did say the Malort would be more of a punishment than the.
Go ahead and pour your shot.
So,
the beautiful golden color.
Yeah.
God,
looks like fucking piss.
Exactly.
That's just exactly what it looks like.
That's morning piss right there.
Are you recording or?
I've been recording.
Oh, okay. All right. All right, fuck you guys.
How was it the second time? Is it different? We took it second time also, didn't we?
Yeah.
If I had COVID, I don't have it anymore.
Yeah. See if that washes
That
it down.
is actually one of the taglines. It won't kill COVID, but it tastes like it should.
Yeah, exactly. No, I totally agree with that.
That's even better.
What's that? Like, it tastes like soap.
Did drinking that make it any better, or did
it made it worse? It's like it emulsified or whatever, and turned into like a soap taste.
Oh man, like I said, tequila didn't go well mixing with it. So,
anyways, Ragnar, have you seen?
There you go.
So yeah, I've seen the first one. There's a second one, which I haven't seen, but
focuses on a different character.
Yeah. And yeah, it's just like this character here. She's a shitty person, and a serial killer literally kills her every single fucking day. Just like this one, in a different way. And she tries to escape it. Really, it boils down to her literally becoming a better person, and it doesn't work though. Because she ends up dying.
So it's the formula kind of changed around a little bit, basically.
Yeah. It becomes a much more. It's just as cynical as Phil is.
Yeah.
That kind of sucks.
But what is your answer to your own question right there about the being immortal? Like, what would you do?
I would hope that I'd be like Phil and become a better person. And like I know. Even right now, I wish I had more time.
Yeah.
I wish I had more time to learn language. Learn more instruments, just do more stuff. I find like I'm constantly short on time. And if I was caught in this time loop, I'd be able to accomplish some of those things and like and really become better as a person. But yeah, I mean, like would I fall into vices and like manipulate others and like or go on a murders like GTA like Stu is going to.
At one point that would be fucking perfect.
At one point in that however many years, decades, centuries that he was stuck in that loop, when he's hitting the rock bottom, and I would be the same way. I'm going complete psychopath.
I mean, because you're completely immortal.
3 years.
You're completely immortal. I mean, to the point, it's like life is meaningless, and you can do whatever the fuck you want. I mean, you're gonna just try everything in life and just see what it's like, and see what works better for you. And to the point where it causes depression, but then it changes his heart, makes him a better person at the end, and then he gets out of the time loop. But the fact is that, yeah, I mean, if you're stuck in that zone over and over again, you're not going to want to be the nice person, the whole time. You want to try other things. Like, fuck it. If this ain't doing anything for me, I'll try this. I'll try that. Try everything. I'll murder somebody. I'll fucking. I mean, anything. I mean, anything was possible. But also, I have to bring up the fact is the old man that died.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that was a changing point of his life right there because he tried to, put that, try to help that man, because originally he was just like didn't give a fuck. He was just walking right past him.
No, that scene broke my heart where he was trying everything he possibly could to save that old man, and he couldn't. Like it didn't matter what he did. Like it was that old man was going to die that night. That scene broke my heart, man. And then maybe there's like a lesson in there too, like is that you can do so much to help people, but ultimately it's not your responsibility, nor is it within your power to change them.
Yeah.
Sometimes the life that they've lived is something that they have to deal with.
Yeah.
Because what happened that day is not what killed him. What he's been doing his whole life and how he ended up homeless is what led him to dying that day.
Yeah. Well, just like that woman, the nurse in the office said that it was just his time to go.
Yeah.
So
yeah. You have a brother or sister, cousin or something like that, that's an addict. You want to help them, but ultimately, that it's their responsibility. It's their burden to get help and to heal and to recover. It's not necessarily your responsibility. And that's something a lot of people have a hard time letting go of.
Yeah.
They feel responsible for that person.
Well, you see when he's so he literally passes by him. He's like, all right, well, I'll get you next time. I'll get you tomorrow. And when he gives him everything in his fucking pocket, that you see the entire changing point of him.
Yeah.
Because everything before that was about him and his downward spiral to rock bottom to the point where he kills himself, I think like a dozen times in very different ways. And that there was a changing point for him. You see where he decides to pick his ass up and actually try and do something nice.
Yep.
And
to the point where the whole town basically loves him. Everybody knows Phil Connors. I mean, because nobody gave a fuck about him before, and he thought he was himself as like a big, huge celebrity. And he also getting, like, I remember he's making that phone call
in the gas station.
Yeah, trying to say, is there anybody that can pick up celebrities and stuff like that? And he was nobody. He was just a fucking prick. All he was just like a over prideful man, basically.
Yeah, smug. Thought that he was like a lot more than his actual achievements.
Yeah.
I'm gonna actually have to disagree with your guys that was the turning point for him. The way I took it was the turning point for him was once he's tried everything and the recognition that he's still going to die. Because once he saw him die, he's like, no, not in my not in this town, not today. And he was still thinking that he had the power to affect. And even though they only showed a few times of him working with him, I took it as the implication, especially later on, when you find out he fixed the dude's back and they called him Dr. Collins.
Yeah.
That he took that time, he was studying medicine in order to try to figure out a way to save him early, because he thought he still had the power. He wasn't the God, he was a God, as he said. And he had enough control. So it wasn't until he accepted the point that he couldn't save him. That is what the turning point was right there. Not him, the first time he's seeing him die or him giving him money or anything like that. No, it wasn't until he accepted he wasn't an all-powerful being and then decided to start being a better person.
In a way, I think what happened to him with his time limit actually made it, other than making him a better person, it also made him a more smarter person. I mean, you saw him at the bar just reading poetry.
Oh no, he had to been fucking goddamn.
He almost became like I know this is weird to say this, but like a fucking superhero, because he was like saving everybody from the town. I mean, the Buster was about to fucking choke inside the restaurant. You see the kid that was about to fall, probably break a leg or even break his back. You never know. Yep. But the fact is, he was like saving everybody in the town, so he was almost becoming like a hero to everybody. And all of that, and I'm sure like the last day before he turned over, where the time loop ended, he did all that for the people. So everybody, he was actually a better person, but also everybody respected him more. You know, everybody knew who he was. So in a way, that kind of helped his character out. You know what I'm saying?
See, I have a fucked up, dark, morbid theory. After this day ends, February 3rd comes, he's with Rita. They talk about moving there, renting a place. He does that, and then he starts seeing bad shit happening around him that he no longer can stop because he doesn't have the advanced knowledge. I think he's eventually going to end up going down in a spiral again, because he's going to end up caring so much about everybody in that town, because he's spent years, decades, centuries with all these people. And once bad stuff starts happening to them and he has no control, I think he's going to end up start blaming himself for no longer being able to be their patron, be their savior, and a depressing spiral out from there after spending so much time saving everybody and becoming this god in this town.
Right.
So Rick and Morty had an episode where Morty is given a remote that allows him to save his place in time. Stu's like, fuck yeah. I love that show. So we're like...
You turned me on to that show. Ever since Pickle Rick.
I turned you on?
No, that's not what I meant. I mean, turn me...
another one.
Oh, motherfucker.
I told you about that fucking show years ago.
Yeah, and I never watched it. I never watched it. But as soon as he showed us that Pickle... As soon as he showed us that Pickle Rick scene, I was glued to that show. That show is fucking hilarious.
Because I turned him on.
Shut the fuck up.
So Morty is given a remote that allows him to save his place in time, sort of like a video game, and it allows him to do like all this horrible shit, and actually kind of allows him to build a relationship with this one girl, just like he does with Nancy and to a certain extent Rita. He pushes people over in wheelchairs, jumps into a tiger cage, does suicide by cop, and then returns to a save point without any consequences. The problem is that he didn't just save his place in time. He created divergent realities where the consequences of his actions lived on.
Yes. Almost like a multiverse, basically?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes, yeah, except Tobey Maguire doesn't show up. I wondered if the same thing with Groundhog Day, if Phil's actions live on in divergent realities, and all those people that he hurt still suffer till this day.
So if we're believing the theory of, or if we entertain the theory that Ned is Satan.
Yeah.
All the sin that Phil did and caused other people to do during that 24-hour period, that's had to been like a smorgasbord for Ned. And would that sin still count once the next day happened? All the previous sins, once the day's reset, does that sin still count? Because I don't think Phil would be regretful or looking for, redemption. Because I get the feeling that Phil is like, oh, those days didn't really count. It was just the day that finally led to this day. Those are the days that count. So if he doesn't believe those ones counted, he's not going to ask for redemption, ask for forgiveness. So thereby, Phil was still damned to hell based on the gigantic pile of sin that he committed during that time. And would all the sin that he got, fucking with Nancy, would that count? That or fucking with anybody else and all the bad shit that he got other people to do,
stealing the fucking money out of the bank truck or whatever.
Going on the drunken joyride,
dude,
some flapjacks.
Yes. Dude, the chicken with the train.
Yes,
I'm sure he'll swerve first.
Yes.
All right. Did you all? Sammy sent in our group text a picture that she took of when they're going down the railroad tracks, and you just see just a solid picture. And I did not realize fucking Phil Connor's like evil smile while he was doing that. The other two guys looked like they were terrorized going down the train tracks, but you just see Bill Murray just doing that evil smile. I thought that was classic. I didn't even realize that. I didn't even know that.
On her part
I know she did that, and it was perfect. I saw that. I have the picture on my phone. I was like, man, that'd be a good background for my wallpaper on my computer.
So do you guys think the sin counted?
In his mind, yeah.
You think so?
I think so. In his mind, I think no matter what he did to fix himself, that'll still live on in the back of his mind as something that he may regret. I wouldn't say he may regret doing it.
Yeah.
You know, but ultimately, knowing him, you could be the nicest fucking person in the world. You're still self-centered.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You are. You really are, no matter what. I think he will still be self-centered enough to justify everything that he's done.
Yeah.
What were you guys?
I'm in agreement with him. Yeah.
It's hard to say. It really is. I mean, you know, certain circumstances in people's lives can change them a whole lot. You know, you have like these addicts who hit rock bottom, they seek recovery, they go to NA, or alcoholics, they go to AA, and they find another high to chase, and they go and they start doing like Ironmans, or they start doing marathons.
It's a replacement,
and they become completely different people. They're just chasing a different high.
Yeah.
So are they completely different people? I mean, it's debatable because they're just chasing a different high. They're just chasing something that's healthier. Yeah, it's really hard to say, man. If what's nature, what's nurture, what character traits that are a part of you are just a part of you. Like they're as innate as your skin color or your hair color or your eye color. There's certain parts about you that you just cannot change, but how you sort of utilize them is just different.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, are you an addict or are you a marathon runner?
I got a question for you.
What's up?
So what is the whole, because I've actually always trying to figure this out. What is the whole purpose of Groundhog Day?
So Groundhog Day was actually something that came up about like, I think it was like sometime like in the 1800s. And there's actually a single line that Phil says about like, you know, they used to take the groundhog out, the rat, they used to take it out and eat it.
I love that
You're
scene.
all hypocrites. I love that, but that's 100% true. So they used to take the groundhog out, and they have the whole does he see a shadow or not or whatever, and they used to eat the fucking thing. So yeah, like that's actually real. And yeah, man, it's after this, so before this, like the celebration in Puxatawny was a real thing. Even though this film was shot in Woodstock, Illinois.
Yeah.
The celebration was a real thing, and they actually had on average they'd have like 2,000 people show up like a year. And
with polka music and everything.
Yeah, because it's a German holiday. So
that I didn't know. I didn't know it was a German holiday.
Yeah, it's a German thing. Like German, I think like in Pennsylvania they have like a lot of German, a lot of Dutch and everything. Yeah. So up there, that's like the reason why you have like the polka music and everything. Polka to John Candy and Home Alone.
Fuck yeah.
kiss me polka. And it's ringing any bells?
Yep.
No.
Yep.
Yeah, no, you're a fucking loser, just like the rest of us. So. So prior to the movie, they had like 2,000 people show up, and then after the movie came out, they had like 40,000 people showing up to Puxatawny for the Groundhog Day celebration.
How could they even fucking handle that shit? There's no way you can even predict that. Going from a couple thousand people, and then the next year you have 40 fucking thousand goddamn people show up. There's no way they could have been prepared for that in any way, shape, or fucking form.
Yep. See, this is a common thing with movies. I mean, there's a lot of movies that turn holidays into or make a holiday of itself, like Big Lebowski. There's a Big Lebowski Day. There's a May the 4th for Star Wars Day, and now and for Groundhog Day, which is probably like just a really small holiday. It's not really, it's on the calendar and everything else. And after this movie, because of it, they make a huger celebration than it was before.
Yeah.
I think that's funny how a lot of movies do that. That's the miracle of movies. So
yeah. Well, that was actually so I was giving you shit earlier about the Christmas movie thing. So apparently during the whole building out Danny Rubin was he wrote the story for it, and then Harold Ramis got a hold of it, and they changed a bunch of stuff. but their story initially was more or less like a sort of like open to any kind of like holiday or any sort of like point in time.
Yeah.
They were actually talking about this movie being like potentially a Christmas movie. And at some point they were just like, well, there's enough Christmas movies out there. Let's do something else. And they picked Groundhog Day as sort of like an obscure holiday to pick.
Yeah.
And it just kind of jumped off from there. And this, I mean, like, you know, you kind of see that everywhere, you know, like you have Halloween in Salem, Massachusetts. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever been there for that. But it is an absolute madhouse. Like a bunch of people show up for like in the small little town, like relatively small town of Salem, and there's just a ton of people there for Halloween because, like, you know, at Salem they have like the Salem witch trials. It's
that's town.
It's like the spooky like little town or whatever. Like, you know, like Tarrytown, like, you know, like for Sleepy Hollow. You know, like in New York. Like a bunch of people show up there. So it's you know, it's kind of crazy how pop culture can sort of like, you know, like highlight these little towns like in their little events, and like, and a bunch of people just kind of show up, and like and it's probably great for them. You know, they Bowling Green, Virginia, for example, they used to have like the Boy Scouts like Jamboree there. And so here you have like, you know, like Bowling Green, like this tiny little town in Virginia right next to AP Hill Army base, and they'd have like the Boy Scouts come in, and like in this little town of maybe like a few hundred, possibly like a few thousand people, whatever, suddenly expands to like thousands and thousands of people. And and that's where they get a lot of their money from. Yeah. So
here's a good question for all you guys. Actually, I'm really curious. Now, if you had to repeat a holiday in your life, what holiday would it be?
Son of a bitch.
Now,
fuck, man.
I'm curious.
I know what yours is. Halloween.
That's exactly it. Yeah, you're right on that. Halloween would be my day. I would repeat that day, honestly, to the point where I can have a different costume every single time and have fun with it and just enjoy Halloween night and everything. What would yours be, Ragnar? Do you think it's a good question? Because I'm really curious. Everybody's, you know, what so if they were to repeat a holiday?
Repeating a single holiday?
A single holiday, because this one was Groundhog Day. Of course, they made it for the movie because there's too many Christmas movies. But, yeah, I mean, seriously, that's a good question.
I would say Halloween as well, because you have, and just like this one here, you have endless possibilities to do whatever the fuck you want. But you can also change your costume so you will never get caught.
That's a smart way of putting it.
Even what do you mean?
Even if you
if you're repeating it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Caught, quote unquote. It's a
fuck you. In my head, that's not it.
Okay. How about you, Stu?
So there.
I love Halloween. Week. I do love Halloween, but I'd probably say like a good 4th of July, because then you can still have some family around, have some fun. It's okay to be perfectly, drunk during the day and nobody judges you, and just a nice relaxing time. And there's explosives all over the place. So if I get bored, I can just go around and gather all the fucking explosive material and see how big of a goddamn charred hole I can leave somewhere. It just the access, and it's fucking warm.
Yeah. All right. How about you, Tyler?
All right. So preemptively, fuck you guys. I know all right. What I'm about to say, like, I know you guys are gonna make fun of me. So Christmas Eve.
Okay.
It's a happy giving time of the year. You have like the lights, the music, which even though like I have a personal rule about I don't listen to Christmas music and prior to December 1st. Because I like Christmas music, but I know it's going to. I get sick of it if I listen to it any time earlier.
Yeah,
because like they always start playing like Christmas music like the day after Halloween, and it's really really fucking obnoxious.
Shit, they were playing Christmas music even before Halloween.
Yeah.
I've seen it in some stores, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah, as soon as the Halloween decorations, like the costumes start thinning out, they're like, "Well, we'll just replace them with Christmas stuff."
Yep.
And it's like, well, what happened to Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving's always like completely just like knocked off the calendar now. It's just mainly Halloween right into Christmas.
Yep. Yeah.
But
yeah, no, I legit I dig that time of the year, man. Like, I know some people like you had mentioned like July 4th, like it's summertime, it's warm and everything. Like I like the cold.
Okay.
So that's definitely more my speed. I do agree with you. Like, holidays are great because you can day drink and nobody judges you.
Yes, yeah. And go on and explode just about everything that you want to do, and just like make explosions and just like shoot fireworks at people.
And there's plenty of Halloweens where technically it's a work day. So but at least with like, a major holiday like July 4th or Christmas, nobody's working. So you have access to more people on your day, to do, and more likely to get away with, finding a partner in crime for that day, different people to go out and do stuff because they're already not working.
Yeah.
Versus trying to go in and convince somebody, no, don't go into work. Tomorrow doesn't count. nobody's really going to fucking believe you. If you came up and told me that, I'm like, okay, you've already started drinking, buddy. So.
Yeah. No, actually, I really like that, man. I like the holidays where all the stores are closed. You can drive through town, like, and the parking lots are just empty.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like, I like that because it's like, cool, people are at home spending time with their family, you know, like as they should.
Yeah.
So, you know, instead of getting bogged down with work and things that don't fucking matter. So, but yeah, no, we talked a little bit about Groundhog Day and Pakistani. So let's talk a little bit about the after this movie was made. We kind of touched on it a little bit after. We touched on a little bit about Ramis getting a lot of those phone calls from the yogis and like the Buddhists and everything. But yeah, let's talk about Murray and Ramis.
Yes.
So yeah,
because I'm really curious about this because I never knew exactly what happened.
So apparently, and ironically enough, I don't know if it was the same wife or not, but that scene where Phil Connors is reading poetry to Rita Hansen in bed is actually a personal story that happened to Bill Murray. So when he got married, his wife had too much to drink, too much champagne. And they got back to the hotel room and he's hoping for the wedding night and everything. And she just falls asleep. And apparently that's what he did to her. Is he was reading to her even though she was asleep to help himself fall asleep.
Yeah.
And so that was put into the film. However, during the making of the movie, apparently he was going through a divorce. So I don't know if he was that story was actually put in and he was divorcing the same woman, which would be kind of yeah. So I don't know if he has trouble even watching the movie or hearing about it because of that very reason. But whatever, that's his personal life. But yeah, Bill Murray was going through a divorce at the time, and so during the filming of the movie, apparently he was calling Ramis all the fucking time about well, what is he thinking here? What is he thinking there? Whatever, just certain aspects to the point to where he was harassing Ramis. He's trying to direct. He wrote this he helped write this movie and everything like that. Obviously, the dude's wearing a lot of hats, trying to accomplish a lot of things. So he doesn't have time for Bill, who's supposed to be a friend of his. They made Ghostbusters. They made Caddyshack together. And so he just sends one of his aides or whatever to go deal with Murray and kind of answer his questions. Bill took that as personal, and he never forgave Harold Ramis for it. And they didn't talk for years.
Yeah.
Until apparently
his deathbed.
Ramis was on his deathbed.
That's sad. I mean, that's sad that they had that. But I've also heard that Bill Murray is very hard to work with. I mean, he's actually and also he likes to take over the script. He's hard to get a hold of when he doesn't have an agent. He has his, you have to try and get his cell phone number, and unless he's got good friends like Wes Anderson. He's in almost every Wes Anderson film. There was a lot of issues with him on the set with Richard Donner on Scrooge. There was issues with him on Ghostbusters. He wasn't even really interested in Ghostbusters 2. He wasn't even happy about it. So there's a lot of issues, and the fact that they work together, because they've only done 3 films together. They did Groundhog Day, and both the Ghostbusters films. They didn't do anything together.
Stripes.
I did Caddyshack.
Yeah, that's right. And Shaq.
No, they had a long working relationship.
Yeah, so the fact that one of the best movies this is probably one of Harold Ramis's best movies, and that they had a fallout is sad because this was such a big hit, and this is a comedy classic basically. So
yeah, but he was saying that he was difficult to work with. He's almost like a prima donna on set.
So he was basically the same character that he was playing.
Yeah,
yeah,
and he's always fucking late in there. So there was 3 days of shooting that I think got wasted because in the scene that Phil gave himself a mohawk, and shit, and painted the room, and he was doing something with he had fun with the chainsaw. So those 3 days were wasted that were wasted and never made it into the fucking movie.
I'm just really curious how much deleted footage there is from this movie, because I'm sure there's a lot more scenes that they cut out.
There's a lot.
The fact that this was a PG-rated movie, I was shocked at, because I figured they would have tried to add more to it and make it I mean, this could have also been an R-rated movie. I mean, they could have added more to it and made it more, almost like a cruder comedy or something like that. But ended up being more of a family-friendly movie.
Yeah, I don't think that's really their style. I mean, you look at Ghostbusters. You look at
Oh, I mean, think of Stripes.
This movie, Stripes. I mean, like in like all things considered,
Even Caddyshack wasn't crude.
No,
they're pretty mild movies. I mean,
consider the time though that these were made.
Yeah, exactly. Like the whole like mud wrestling.
Yeah,
scene, like,
if you take Stripes, then put it in the now.
Yeah,
right. That would probably be PG-13, all pushing probably close to R-rated.
Yeah,
with everyone being so fucking butthurt and sensitive.
All right, so I'm going to channel Stu here for a second. So in 2006, the United States Library of Congress selected this film for preservation in the National Film Registry.
Really?
Groundhog Day has been adopted into the 2016 musical and 2019 view.
You been a musical about this?
How much have I had to drink? Fuck me. All right, cool. All right, I'm having trouble seeing. Having a stroke. Yeah. So just like Die Hard, this film is a part of American history and shall always be protected. And yeah, so like kind of think about that for a second. That this movie is like is a part of our history. It's part of our culture.
No shit, I didn't know that.
Like you can think what you want about this movie. Like, you know, it's a good one.
Yeah.
But yeah, actually, I have kind of a point about that. So one thing that I've noticed is that I talk to people about this film, and as they get older, as they sort of mature, they get married, they have kids, they have a career, and they sort of start to kind of chase down like those ambitions of life that can kind of contribute to you living like the same day in, day out, same shit over and over again. Yeah. They start to appreciate this movie a lot more as they get older. I know that for myself, my own personal experience, like I said, I saw this movie when I was younger, and like I was like, yeah, it's pretty funny. It's a Bill Murray movie. He's playing himself. It was okay. And then I watched it again as an older person with a little more experience, and I was like, this is a really good fucking movie.
Yeah.
Not so much for everybody else, but let me go ahead and check poll the room real quick. Is that the same experience that you all had with the seeing the movie, but when you're younger, and then appreciating more as you get older?
I saw this back in the definitely in the early 90s. I remember my mom and dad actually rented it from the video store when it first came out and stuff like that. And I remember watching it with them, and I was laughing at the scenes, stuff like that. I understood it and thought it was just a comedy. But the more you're getting older, you can tell that it's actually more of a mature, very smart made comedy, especially all the creativity they had to do with all the things that he had to do and go through his life, and going the sinful route, then going to the heroic route, and going to the depression route. I mean, it's everything in the movie and everything else. So I've learned to appreciate this movie a whole lot more getting older, and I think that actually I agree with that opinion about that. I don't see this as a kids movie. I see this as just it's definitely a 90s movie. They don't make comedies like this anymore. Comedies like this is completely gone. They're completely different now. This is a very smart, well-made movie to the point where I think that helps. It basically tells you that you can become a better person. That you don't have to be a bad person. You don't have to be a self-centered prick. You can actually become a very good person, and you can change your life. So
yeah,
I'd agree with that. Yeah, and like the early 90s. Comedies like this were completely fucking different than anything that it is now. This one here is very subtle. It's a very subtle comedy in the fact that nothing is over the top, I don't think.
A lot of the jokes, if you blink, you'll miss them.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's one scene in particular where it's towards the end of the film. They're at the big Groundhog Day celebration, like the night party, and you guys remember the couple when Phil's going through the diner, and he's just like, oh, this is this young man, this young woman, they're getting married today, but the wife is or the bride is having second thoughts.
WrestleMania.
Yeah, exactly. The bride's having second thoughts.
My mind.
Yeah, and the groom's like, what? And you see them later at the party where they're in their wedding clothes. She's wearing her dress, and they're thanking him. He gives them tickets to WrestleMania. They freak the fuck out, and in their celebration, the bride kisses Phil,
yeah,
and then the groom gives Rita a kiss on the cheek,
yeah,
and the bride gets instantly jealous.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even though she kissed Phil on the lips, and all he did was give Rita a kiss on the cheek, she gets instantly jealous, gives her
pulls him away,
fucking death stare, and and pulls her away.
Yeah.
And that's sort of for me, man. That's kind of a callback to the scene in Ghostbusters, like in the elevator, when they turn on the proton pack and they're talking about like how fucking powerful it is and they can't cross the streams and everything.
Yeah.
And it turns it on and just goes like, and like
just back
and like and they all just kind of go like, what the and like they all back away, like they're gonna like backing away the 6 inches inside the elevator is gonna do it.
Yes.
It's one of those like those subtle like small jokes like that Ramis and Murray and all those guys like were so famous for, and like in the film's full of it. But Ragnar, go on, please.
Yeah, you don't see comedy like this anymore. Nothing that is subtle. Everything now, I think, is very over the top and even more dramatic to the point to where they try too fucking hard to make you laugh.
Yep.
Instead of a little subtle hint here or there, or just like that on the at the party, and it makes you think. So the groom, I'm sorry, mentioned that Phil helped convince the bride to get married.
Yeah.
Right. Do you think anything happened between those two?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. You thought the same thing?
During his sitting times? Yeah. I guarantee he took advantage.
Oh, fuck the bride?
Oh, yeah. Guarantee. Guarantee.
Yeah. Wow.
When he was in that mode. I mean, you saw that, that random chick, that he dressed up, I thought you were taking me to a costume party. That's my favorite movie.
No, dude, I love that.
Dressing up like fucking Clint Eastwood.
Call me Bronco.
Yeah. You guys know that young actor in The Groom, Michael Shannon, right?
Yeah.
The young Michael Shannon?
Yep.
Did not.
Yeah, from Man of Steel, General Zod.
You couldn't immediately recognize him?
8 Mile?
I didn't look that closely at
That's Michael Shannon.
No.
Yes.
The Groom is Michael Shannon.
Yes, that's Michael Shannon.
That's a young Michael Shannon. Immediately recognizable.
The thing is, nowadays, when I watched the movie in the early 2000s, like when I saw 8 Mile and stuff like that, when I saw Pearl Harbor, I remember he was Goose in Pearl Harbor. That was the first movie role I've ever saw him in. But then I saw that, and he's become like a really big actor now. He's actually really almost B-grade actor. And you see him in this, and he's a young teenager or young, like probably in his early 20s. But yeah, that's
Dude,
Michael Shannon.
I'm looking at him now in the movie. He looks so young.
Yeah,
shit,
that's Michael Shannon.
Life got really hard for him.
Yeah, dude.
Life got really fucking hard for him.
Dude, babyface General Zod. Look at him.
Wow, yeah.
I always appreciated him more from Boardwalk Empire.
Yes, he was great at that.
Yeah.
Yes. No,
that to me is
great
where
series.
that's what showed me what an actor he could be.
Yeah.
Right there. But no, I
didn't think
were you done with your thought, Ragnar?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to make sure. Okay, so I definitely liked it when I first saw it, which was probably on VHS when it first came out when young. But then it was one of those movies I would watch every now and then, and every watch of it, as I'm getting older and having more life experiences, the more appreciative I definitely got. One of the reasons I will always be a big fan of this movie, and the reason that I'm happy it got, selected to be something that needed to be preserved, and I'm full alignment with it, is it's a type of movie that it leaves you with questions. Not about necessarily what happened in the movie or a misunderstanding, but leaves you with questions about the morality, the different aspects afterwards, and it keeps you thinking.
Yeah.
And then as you get, the more times you watch it at different times in your life, the different theories you'll start coming up with or start liking and coming in agreement with, and the more you mature, well, maybe it's actually this way, and to start questioning, and it always leaves you with a different type of answer in your head.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that, because I like movies that make you think, but not because they're trying to be shoving a thought down your throat or anything. It's like, I agree completely. Subtle. It's a subtle, smart film,
smart comedy
that it does play well for family. It plays well for the chick flick aspect of it, like you talked about earlier.
I feel like this is a chick flick. I feel like it's a mixture. It's a chick flick / smart comedy.
But a lot of people a lot of people say that about American Sniper, is because I think when that's part of the reason why the movie was so successful, is because it appealed to men, and that it was a war film. But you also had the war at home, a marriage.
Yeah.
And how that was. You also had that sort of romance aspect of it, and that's the reason why the film was so successful, is because because you had an appeal to both sides.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't really think this is a chick flick. I think this is more like a human story. But
I completely agree. It had so many elements that could attract in so many different genres and groups, and still tell a wonderful story to so many different people and reach out to them and let them all come out with a good feeling afterwards.
Yeah.
Really it is. Even though I will always argue this is a black comedy. It really is. Once you start peeling away the fucking layers and how twisted that idea actually is and what he suffered and went through, how fucked up it actually was. And they didn't even have to show it, which to me was genius. It was fucking genius.
Yep.
But it left that darkness to be just painted over in your own minds in a very successful way.
Yeah.
I loved it.
No, like, and to your point, man, like the subtlety, like, you know, it's one of those films, like, where as a younger person, like, you don't necessarily notice all that stuff until you get older, and then you watch it again. And there's a lot of people I've heard this from, like, where they say, like, I've watched this movie again as I was older, and like, and I notice so much more now than I did like when I was younger. And that's just, I think that kind of comes with like with life experience. But you know, all good things come to an end. This film has been kind of perverted, like, you know, over the years. So speaking of that, so all good things must come to an end. Back in 2020, they did a commercial for the Jeep Gladiator during the Super Bowl, and
dream vehicle.
Yeah, and it was filmed.
It's a remake.
It was filmed. It's like sort of like a unofficial sequel, like short sequel. And it was filmed in Woodstock, Illinois, where they initially filmed it. They had the same guy who played Buster, the same guy who played Ned Ryerson, and of course Bill Murray came back with the Groundhog, which I'm actually really surprised about. Did you guys hear about like the Groundhog bit him like several fucking times? Yeah, he had to get rabies shots. Like, it fucked him up. Yeah. It was well, I mean, you'd be kind of figure like, but it's during that scene where he steals a groundhog and he's got it like on the steering wheel, whatever. He's like pause at 10 and 2. And
don't drive angry.
Don't drive angry. Left, right. All right. So apparently there's one point in time where the groundhog bit him so bad they had to stop filming for a second so that he can get medical attention. I assume he had to get like stitches or something. Yeah. And he had to get rabies shots. Like, it was pretty bad. So the fact that anybody convinced him to come back and do this little short sequel to this film, whatever, involving a groundhog driving the Jeep Gladiator is beyond me. But have you guys seen it?
Yes.
Yeah. I remember it now.
Yeah.
It's funny, he's got the stuffed one in the next seat strapped in.
I don't know if I remember that part. Yeah. But anyways, so Ned Ryerson makes an appearance. So does like his brother, Brian Doyle Murray. Sorry.
Yeah, he's actually in a lot of Harold Ramis films and a lot of movies with Bill Murray. And the thing is, you can tell that they're brothers. They look alike in a way. He's the older brother of his. So
yeah, sort of like the Sam Raimi and his brother.
Yeah.
What was it, Ted or Theodore or something like that?
Ted.
Yeah, he always shows up in his movies or whatever. Like, you know, I always got that brother that's kind of like tagging along. Did you guys hear Britney Spears like trash her sister?
Yes.
Did you guys hear about that?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I can't remember like her sister's name.
Jamie Lynn.
Jamie Lynn. Yeah, like the most trailer park name you can imagine.
Yep.
Yeah, like she trashed her, and she's like, yeah, she's always been following me. Like, you know, if it wasn't for me, she'd have nothing. Just the most like catty shit. And like, what's funny is like you didn't hear about this a couple of years ago, and you're like, damn. Maybe we fucked up. Maybe we should have let the conservatorship like just kind of continue.
No, she had a reason to be kind of fucking pissed because all that money that she was making that she didn't have any fucking control over.
Yeah,
a lot of it was being funneled right to her sister. So that's my fucking money, bitch. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, it's like Macaulay Culkin, his parents.
Yes. So I mean, I understand her being fucking salty as shit about the whole thing, and then finally getting the power back that she has, and this is deciding to say fuck all you guys that have been, you know, fucking keeping me under your heel this entire fucking time and living off of my sweat.
Yeah,
you know. So
yeah. And plus,
she's very open on her Instagram. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I know. Ron's been enjoying that.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm sorry.
He sent me the fucking post. He's like, bro, have you seen this? I'm like, yeah, dude. Like, you know, she's aged. You can kind of tell, but whatever. But yeah, no, like, so I don't fucking like the commercial, and like I'll get into why. So the commercial is like the antithesis of everything that movie stood for. It like Groundhog Day stands for going beyond yourself, learning that your own bullshit doesn't matter, and if you really want notoriety, you want to feel important, you want to have fulfillment and be happy, you need to help others. It's sort of counterintuitive. Like, you need to help others, not just like help yourself. And in this commercial, he falls right back into his old fucking habits. Like, you know, he gets up every single day and he's all excited because he's gonna go steal like the Jeep Gladiator again, and he's gonna go do things. He's gonna go fucking go skiing in the woods or whatever. And it's just like, instead of like helping the kid who fell out of the tree, instead of helping Buster not choke to death, instead of helping that couple that was supposed to be married, actually help them get married and not have the bride walk away. None of that happens. He wants to go fucking drive this fucking Jeep. And it just seems like the complete opposite of what the whole movie stood for to begin with.
Yeah, but I bet you Bill got paid more for that fucking commercial than he did for the movie.
Well, here's the problem.
Guaranteed that.
Here's the problem. He even said this is the first and last commercial I'll ever do. So I assume that there was something about it, either whether it was philosophically not something he agreed with, or if it was the pay wasn't that great, or the fucking nightmare of the filming was just as bad as it was for the original film, where they were stuck in the cold and wet and he was getting bitten by groundhogs and everything like that. I don't know if the same horrors he had to go through with the first film happened with the commercial shooting also. But he's yeah, this is the first and last time I'll ever fucking do this shit.
I think they've done that with a lot of Super Bowl commercials. Is they bring back movies from the 90s or the 80s and they bring back the characters. I think they did it for Jurassic Park. They did it for Edward Scissorhands. I mean, they didn't bring Johnny Depp. They brought that other young actor that's big right now to play Edward Scissorhands, but they always try and do that, and because people relate to that because they knew those characters when they grew up. So.
Yeah. Straight cash grab.
Yeah.
See, now you've got me hyper focused on who is this, because I don't think I saw that commercial, Edward Scissorhands commercial.
I think it was a car commercial. I think it was a Nissan or something like that.
Dude, it doesn't even fucking look like him.
They said that
Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah, he was in Dune. He was in. He's supposed to be the new Willy Wonka for the new Willy Wonka prequel, apparently. And
Really?
Yeah, he's the new Willy Wonka.
Even after Charlie and the Chocolate Factory?
They're completely doing a whole prequel of Willy Wonka.
An origin.
Yeah, an origin story.
We don't need it.
It's because they're not allowed to do a sequel.
Because what's his name? Ronald Dahl is against it. Yeah.
Yep. Good for him. Fuck
yeah.
Yeah, fuck
yeah,
that.
After
because
Willy Wonka, they were fuck you guys, you will never, ever do a fucking
That's
sequel.
why they never did the Great Glass Elevator. Yep. Yeah, so
the commercial, does anybody else have any thoughts about that?
Just blatant cash grab. That's all it was.
Yeah.
Just trying to ring that nostalgia feel because, bringing back the Gladiator, that's nostalgic. They thought that would be a no-brainer. And it's a very disrespectful cash grab to the legacy of this film, in my opinion.
No, I agree. I believe it or not, any of those Super Bowl commercials are kind of lame anyways. A lot of the Super Bowl commercials have been completely lame. It's very... The only one that I've always I loved was that Radio Shack one. That Radio Shack one was fun. You remember the Radio Shack?
Die Hard?
No, is the Radio Shack when Radio Shack came back and then a year later they went down, where they had Kid and Play in there. You had Twisted Sister in there. They had all the 80s characters come back because Radio Shack was a big thing in the 80s. So I thought that was a good one. But most of the stuff that they released for the Super Bowl commercials where they base it off a movie are stupid, and they actually do, like Stu said, disrespect them.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah. They used to be the best part of the Super Bowl, especially if it was a team you didn't give a shit about.
Yeah, a lot of people actually just watch Super Bowl just for the fucking commercials.
Yeah. And the Bud Bowl.
Yeah, exactly.
So there are some people out there that don't like this movie so much. They talk about the repetitive nature of the movie, which I kind of feel like is inherent to the story.
Mm-hmm.
But Phil ends up living the same day over and over again, and you see his repeated interactions with the homeless guy, the repeated interactions with Ned, the repeated interactions with Rita, and
the fat guy on the stairs in the hotel room.
Yeah. I'll just see the groundhog today. Yeah.
Didn't we do this yesterday?
Yeah. And he starts talking in Italian and sing some sort of fucking poem about winter and
French. The French poetry.
Yeah, it gets a little cringy. Yeah, only God can.
Basically, he was, like you said, he was trying to get laid with almost every chick in that fucking town. And I think Stu said you probably do a gangbang with the fucking old chicks.
Yeah, you cannot blame the man for fucking trying.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think he did any gay stuff? I mean,
he did sort of do a joke with Ned with the whole thing about giving a hug and everything. But I think I don't want to think of that. I'm really telling you the truth. That's not something I want to think about. Because that was more of a joke just to get him to get the fuck away.
If he ran through if he did run through all the females in every combination that he could think of, I could see him getting bored enough. It's
Hey, maybe there's probably
there's something to it.
There's a 3-hour cut of this movie. I guarantee it might have shit like that Stu would love.
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
it's boredom. It's just fucking boredom and trying to find anything to break up the monotony.
Yeah.
So which one?
The mayor.
Think about it.
I think the mayor.
Think about it.
I think of the mayor. Yeah.
What about the groom?
I think
he could have fucked the groom.
I bet you fucked the bride. Why not fuck the groom?
I bet you at one time he cucked the groom. He made him fucking watch. There's that pure dominance, that ego.
Dude, no, I mean,
Sit there and watch me fuck your wife.
That's a fair point, man. Like, could you imagine, like, if you had no consequences, like, and like the right sort of depraved person, like they said again, like nature versus nurture, the naturally like depraved person that was put in this sort of situation, like the kind of crazy shit that they would do.
Yeah.
I mean,
endless fucking possibilities.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's I mean, it's scary, man. Like this movie is mild compared to what we could have had.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, so let's go and talk a little bit about the time loop again. So we had kind of talked before about like all the things that he's done, all the possibilities and everything like that. How long do you guys think he was in this this eternity, we'll call it?
Oh, shit, Stu, you said like decades or freaking.
Okay, so if you do the rule of thumb that it takes 10,000 hours to become a master at something, all right. Let's say he just mastered 5 things: piano, doctor, French poetry, and I'm sure there's a couple other things. Let's say he just happened to do that we don't even know about. Just 5 things. So that's 50,000 hours. And let's say you average 16 hours a day, 8 hours for sleeping, eating, shitting, whatever the case may be, 16 hours a day. And you do that math. If that's all he did was focus, that's all he did, you're already looking at over 8.5 years just to master 5 things with your focus only on those 5 things. That's it.
Wow.
Yeah. That's 8.5 years minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, just like these thing when he's trying to learn himself, like learn these chicks and everything else, and do the French poetry. I mean, how long is it going to take you to read and say French poetry as perfect as he did?
Exactly.
That's going to take like countless hours and hours and days probably to do that, and he did it so perfectly. So when you think about it, that is a good thing to think about, and how many days that he basically did.
So my personal thought is, I'm thinking for him to have completely gone from and going buck wild, then enjoying and going completely depressed and going, over the top, and then starting to his upward edge, minimum 100 years, bare minimum.
Really?
Yes.
You really think it would have been 100 years?
Bare minimum. Before he was able to completely move on.
I think that's a little overkill.
I don't think so.
No, so there's multiple theories on the timeline on this. There's one where it is 33 years, 350 days. And
that's a very specific time.
It is.
Let's just fucking call it 34 years.
Yeah, well, yeah.
There's just got to be people like out here studying this movie, like trying to mark down and make notes of every single day and how many days that he's done it. So,
because they went through the timeline of it, and it was brought up, like I said, 34 years.
Yeah.
Call it a fucking spade. I think it was when they talked to Harold Ramis about it, and it equaled out to, he said roughly it could be around 1,000 years, or 10,000 years.
Yeah,
there, like I said, there's no real number per se, because everyone can have a fucking theory, just like your math.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about it, if it takes that long to master, 5 things? Yeah, roughly. And then you think about everything else that he did. Right. So, all right. So you want to master 5 things. It'll take what?
8.5 years.
8.5 years. All right.
And that's if you're hyper focused on only those.
So then think about how many times he killed himself. Right. And it doesn't show anything in between. He's literally depressed. He's fucking tired. He's bored. Something has to fucking give with this. And then he goes into figuring, all right, so I want to get into your pants. Mm-hmm. Right? So I need to learn everything about you, just so when he tried hooking up with what was her name?
Rita.
Rita. No, not Rita.
Oh,
Nancy. It only showed it once, right? But how good is the memory of how good of a memory do you have to memorize that and actually try and bring it up? How many times did he actually try that?
Yeah, so the thing is, with Rita, they showed him going into repeating the same thing over and over again. So they didn't do that with Nancy.
And everyone failed.
Exactly.
Except for Nancy, right?
She was a whore.
Whores!
Look, whores have feelings, all right? They do.
Whores need love, too.
Yes, they fucking do, all right? They need fucking. Sometimes they need love. Maybe a little bit of cuddle-ish, you know.
A love of her face.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they asked Ramis in 2009 about how long. An earlier estimate was like 10 years, right? But I guess people started using their brain and doing math. But for some people, numbers are hard. And
what the fuck? Why are you pointing at me, you ass?
I mean, words are hard for you. I can only imagine how hard numbers are.
Where I wish we did have the cameras, because just the fact that as soon as he said that, we all just kind of looked at you and that blank look on your face. Priceless.
Oh my god!
I couldn't resist that one.
You ass.
I know. So in 2009, Ramis refuted that it was not 10 years, but more like 30 to 40 years. Rubin's script, it was depicted, it was more like 10,000 years.
10,000 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard those numbers.
Yeah.
That's overkill. That is way overkill, man.
What do you mean? What that should show you?
I don't think it takes 10,000 years to do all the shit that he did. I mean, to learn and everything else.
All right, so
I can go with 100 years, or maybe 10 years.
Everything had to go just right.
I mean, it got to
everything.
It got to a certain point to where he was able to tell down to the second.
Yeah.
Like how when
Exactly.
when things were gonna happen.
No, but you know
when he was robbing the truck.
I understand that, but when he fucked up,
and then when the cart, the tray gets dropped or whatever. Like I know everything, whatever.
And then him saying the kid.
Like Rita's like trying to interrupt him, whatever. And he's just like 5, 3, 2, like 5, 4, 3, 2, and like and the tray drops. Like he knew. There's the tray right there.
No, but
buddy, go and put that anywhere.
Right.
So, he knew down to the second everything was going to happen.
Yeah.
So you have to imagine, that's a lot of fucking time being everywhere.
No,
Being omnipresent, a god, not the god, a god.
Yep.
Being omnipresent and knowing everything exactly when it's going to happen, that takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
But I disagree, because I feel like whenever he fucked up, like he did one fuck up, he was like, I fucked up. I'm going to go ahead and kill myself and come back again.
No, because
instead of having to do the whole fucking day over again.
No, because then he didn't show him immediately, like when he's on the date with Rita. Oh, white chocolate. That's right. She won't like that. I remember that. It didn't show him. All right, bye, bitch. And there's no fucking goddamn bullet.
I mean, that's what I would have done. I mean, seriously.
He's like, all right, what was it? Chocolate, not white chocolate or something like that.
Yeah, no
he's
white
like,
chocolate.
Yeah, he's like, all right, no white chocolate, no fudge. And just pulls a gun out of his fucking mouth. Just the smell of his back. Himself is fucking Rita's just like.
All right. Yes. So I mean, he would continue on with his day most of that time, and then still use that opportunity to learn other things and stuff like that. So it wasn't like he was just learning one thing, kill himself, learn one thing, kill himself. No, he was just continuing on. And with how many different choices, different actions, the smallest, timing of every minutia and stuff like that. There's, you say you can't see 10,000 years. Think about how many choices you make every single fucking day, every action you do to put you in every single place, and then choosing a different action throughout the entire fucking day, and then all the actions that leads to, and then all the actions that leads to, and so forth and so forth. All right, it's an infinite number of variables.
No, I see what you're saying.
It's
just, I don't know. It just seems like a little bit too much for me. I feel like it can be a lot less than that. But I mean, I guess
it could be.
It all depends on how smart he is.
In my mind, a bare minimum century. Bare minimum.
Yeah,
that's my mind.
All right, so I have a question for you guys. Do you think what happened to him is a blessing or a curse? Because we had mentioned before, like the deal with the devil, and Ned being Satan himself and all that stuff.
Rita even said that herself. She feels like this is maybe Phil, this is not a curse. Maybe this is something to help or something like that. So,
all things considered, do you guys think that this is a blessing or a curse?
Blessing.
If this were to happen to you, do you think this would be a blessing or a curse?
A blessing, because it makes you a better person. I mean, because you learn more about yourself, you learn things, you become more talented in things that you were never talented in before. It's sort of a blessing. You're getting a lot more in your life, and then the fact that when the curse ends, or I guess it would still be called a curse at that point, because it would be a curse being a day after day after day. But you've learned so much, it makes you a completely different person. It changes your personality. So in a way, I think it is, because it helps him in a way. And I mean, do you guys agree?
So I think it's both.
A curse and a blessing.
Yeah. So yeah, it would be both. With in the very beginning, yeah, it's a fucking curse. You're screwed, because you literally have to relive every single day doing the same thing. No, I'm sorry, not the same thing, but you wake up at 6 a.m. to that shit fucking song every single fucking day.
Yeah.
Right? That alone will fucking drive you mad.
Yeah.
And I think he realizes that towards the middle of the movie or whatever, that it's actually a blessing, because he can do all these different things and learn to play the piano and learn poetry, learn ice sculptures, become a doctor, and anything else that transpired throughout the time he was in his own hell loop. It would be both, because you start on one end of the spectrum and then you end up over here.
Yeah.
So
my opinion is it is definitely both, but it's more a curse, much more heavily towards that aspect. Because even though you are finding ways eventually to better yourself and give yourself new skill set and new view on stuff, the entire time you're going through, at that point, he's accepted this day's never going to fucking end. So he's part of it's still just trying to find something new.
Yeah.
Just do something, to keep the boredom aside.
Right.
Rather than every morning waking up and just fucking slicing his own goddamn throat. And just to hit the reset fucking button. It to me, and then also, like I said, I talked about it earlier. I think once you're out of that loop, that I truly believe he's caring about these people in this town, then having that forced responsibility, whether it was 10 years, whether it was 100 years, or 10,000 years, he knows everything about these fucking people and has built up an emotional connection to every one of these fucking people.
Yeah.
And then when bad stuff does start to happen, which will happen, to now see what is basically your family suffering and you not being able to fucking do a goddamn thing about their suffering anymore after you had that power and then had that power yanked away from you.
Yeah.
Would be fucking, it'd be cruel.
Yeah.
He won't have the time to learn to deal with that aspect because he's no longer stuck in that time loop. He's now just having to see this shit happen. It showed how it took him forever to learn how to, become a good person. He's not going to have forever to become, an accepting person.
Yeah. How about you, Tyler?
So I 100% think it's a Blazarian thing. It's a blessing. Have you guys ever heard about the story about the Chinese farmer as told by
yes.
Dan Blazarian?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. So for those of you that haven't, it's so the story goes that a Chinese farmer has horses and a horse runs away from the farm one day, and the townspeople say what a terrible thing, and he says maybe, and then the next day that stray horse comes back with a whole herd of horses. They're all wild horses. And comes back with all this whole herd of horses, and the townspeople all say oh, what a great thing, and he says maybe. The next day, his son, helping out with the farm, goes out there to try to break some of these new wild horses, and in the process of that, he breaks his leg, and the townspeople all say oh, what a terrible thing, and he says maybe. The next day, the Chinese army comes through and it starts conscripting members, and they pass over his son because he has a broken leg. And the townspeople come over afterwards and say oh, what a great thing. And he says, maybe. but the whole point is that you don't really know like how something is going to affect you in your life. You may like at the very beginning of it, like when it first hits you, like, oh, this sucks, or this is so fucking great. Whether it's like winning the lottery, or your wife divorcing you, or something like that, or a child dying, or something like that. You may like at the very beginning say like, oh, what a terrible thing, and then you realize like later on in your life, whether it's like a few months, a year, 5 years, 10 years, whatever, like actually that was like probably the best thing that ever happened to me, because it enabled me to do whatever.
Yeah.
You don't really know how something's going to affect you until it actually truly, truly affects you. And so in retrospect of this story, I think it is truly a blessing, because, without it, the egotistical, smug, cynical person that Phil wouldn't have become like the generous, charitable person that he is now.
Yeah.
Without this happening to him.
It's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah.
It seems like me and Tyler are more in agreement on the whole being a blessing, and Stu and Ragnar being the same on being both.
So Ragnar, you had a few notes about the town.
Yeah. So all right. So you mentioned it was filmed in Woodstock, Illinois, and originally it was literally supposed to be in Punxsutawney. So the town center wasn't what they were looking for, and it wasn't really big enough, and it didn't look good on camera. So they literally switched places to Woodstock, Illinois. So Punxsutawney Phil is an actual groundhog.
Yeah.
It's not just some fucking made up fucking thing.
Apparently it's very tasty.
Apparently
tasty.
It's delicious.
But does it taste like chicken?
Let's find out.
Just about everything out there tastes like chicken. So
tastes like your mom.
Oh, you motherfucker.
Your mom tastes like chicken? That's kind of weird.
It's actually a tilapia, more like fish. Yeah. Sorry, just cut that.
What the fuck? Shut up, Stu.
I didn't say anything.
You're laughing.
I didn't say a fucking thing.
It's light but flaky.
It's funny.
Your mom's vagina.
Stop.
Think about it.
Stop, you ass. All right, go ahead.
Sorry, Ragnar.
Man, looks like somebody threw a hand grenade in a deli counter.
I love it. Looks like exploded roast beef.
So they shot in Illinois. So
how fucked up would that be? We're gonna make a movie about your town, but your town doesn't look like the town you should.
It's not good enough.
Your town looks too shitty to be your own town.
That's actually pretty normal in a lot of movies. I mean, like Eyes Wide Shut was supposed to be filmed in New York. Halloween's
one of them.
I know, but the fact that they were actually planning on filming there, and like, nope, it doesn't look enough like Punxsutawney. Even though you are Punxsutawney.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Right?
That's an insult right there.
So they got their revenge, though. They told them they said that they are going to ban Punxsutawney Phil from appearing in the movie, which is stupid and petty, but it's fuck you for not liking our town.
Yeah.
And you remember the street where the sinkhole?
Yeah.
Yes.
In the street. So they actually had to take all the bricks out, and
that was a fucking deep ass sinkhole.
It was.
Too.
It was like up to your fucking knee.
Yeah.
So they had to take
That's
the bricks
doozy.
out. So they took all the bricks out of that section there, and obviously filled it up with water and whatnot. And later on, they put a plaque over the hole that said Bill Murray stepped here.
Yeah.
And shit, which was kind of funny. And they flew it in Woodstock, Illinois, during the time that this was filmed. It ended up being like 80 fucking degrees.
Yeah.
During the filming. So they shipped snow in for the movie.
It was 80 degrees that they were filming out there in that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's stills of the staff in shorts and a t-shirt.
And everyone else is dressed when it's supposed to be like fucking 0 fucking degrees out.
Yeah, but there was a lot of scenes where you could see their breath and everything. That's why I noticed. I thought it was still actually filmed in a winter location, like the scene with him with the old man. You could see the breath of both of them. In fact, that was a little blooper. You could see the old man, even though he was dead. You could still see him breathing.
You could still see him breathing.
Yeah, you could see the air coming out, which was showing, they are in a cold area, because a lot of movies make that mistake by filming in a warm area and not seeing the breath of the cold, the breath from the cold weather and stuff like that. But I saw that in this. That's why when you're saying 80 degrees, it's like, how the fuck did they do that? That must have been filmed in a different location than for the old man.
No, everything was filmed there. But somehow, I don't know how they did it.
I mean, it may have been 80 degrees on some of the days, but I bet they still film during, the winter months. And it looks like we've had some very warm days.
Oh, yeah.
Things like that.
Fucking 65 degrees.
But then immediately followed up by some really fucking cold-ass days.
Snapshot to our fucking blizzard that we just had.
So, I mean, it very well could have been that type of situation right there where some of the days they wanted all the snow everywhere in the cold. It was actually fucking warm, and the actors just had to fucking suck it up and deal with it. Sucks to be you, bitch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But then they followed up
especially
with cold
standing
days.
in front of the fucking fire pits.
Yeah.
And shit, yeah.
I mean, I'm just thinking about the coat and clothes that, Bill wore during the thing, that heavy wool coat and shit like that. He had been sweating his fucking dick off.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. All right, so let's go and wrap things up. So, let's go and get everyone's pint review. So, Ron, you can go first.
I'm going to give this movie a 4. 4 pints altogether. And 4 is a very solid number because this is a great comedy, huge recommendation. It's definitely, I wouldn't call it I would say it's family friendly, but I wouldn't call it a family film. This is sort of just a comedy. It's not an adult comedy. It's not a child comedy, or it's, I guess, you know what? Would you say this is a family comedy? Because it's kind of hard to tell on that. It's really because there's a lot of adult features in it and stuff like that. But
I think it works as the family film because of the fact that we've all enjoyed it when we first saw it when we were younger. But then as we get older, we appreciate different aspects.
That's
of
true.
It.
Yeah.
So I firmly believe that it you can call it a family comedy, you can call it a chick flick, you can call it
the whole chick flick thing too, a
sci-fi film, even if you wanted.
It's a good date movie and everything else for couples and stuff like that. But the fact is that Bill Murray's comedic representation in this movie is amazing as always. Fucking all the casting in this movie is wonderful. The filming, the locations, Harold Ramis's writing. Sorry. Everything about this movie is fun, and I do make this a staple to watch every February. I have that weird tradition with movies where I watch certain months. This one is a good movie to watch in February. It's good to watch around Groundhog Day. So I can't see myself watching this in the summertime, but other people probably disagree. They'd watch this anytime year round. But I always feel like this is a good winter movie to watch. It's an enjoyable experience. I love this movie. 4 pints all the way on this one. How about you, Ragnar?
That's a 4, absolutely. See, I don't agree that it's a fucking chick flick in any manner.
Yeah.
Just because there's a little bit of fucking romance and love and whatnot, but it's not a fucking chick flick in my mind.
Do you think it's too sappy, or do you think it's just perfect? It's perfect balance.
No, there's really no sappiness involved.
Yeah,
I don't think there is. I think it's a great movie for here's a 50-cent word for you: the duality of man.
Mm-hmm.
And it really does a great job in showing the transition from a douchebag to an actual good human being.
Yeah.
And shows literally the whole process of, fuck, I can do whatever I want. Oh my God, I can't do this shit anymore. Well, now I got to start changing. Maybe something will fucking click and help, It's a good date movie. And if you've never seen it, you really do need to fucking get off your ass and go watch it.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. Bill Murray did great, I think. Harold Ramis did a wonderful job in directing it, and I think he co-wrote it too.
Yeah, he did. He co-wrote it with David Rubin, you said?
Danny
Rubin?
Yeah.
And I think it's a great fucking movie. And if you don't like it, fine, that's your own opinion, but you're wrong.
How about you, Stu?
This is a super strong 4. Almost to that 4.5 to me.
Yeah.
It is just wonderfully done, brilliantly acted by Bill Murray and Andy McDowell, and even Chris Elliott. I thought did really fucking good.
Yeah, he did.
All right.
Yeah.
Everybody did their roles really fucking well. The writing was strong and on point. Very enjoyable. It's something that you can rewatch numerous times. And if you don't like this film, you're fucking broken inside. You really fucking are.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
My kids even enjoyed this.
Yeah.
They actually thought this was a good movie. They both weren't bored of it. They both enjoyed this movie.
Yeah. So that's super, super strong 4 for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I agree with you guys. I think this movie is a solid 4. It's a really, really good movie. There is some things about it that make it a little hard to rewatch it over and over again. There are some sort of plot holes, like the moment where he kind of spends a day with Rita, and that for whatever reason kind of changes everything. I don't know if maybe they're trying to shoot for maybe this idea of you meet somebody and it kind of changes your whole perspective on life and yourself and everything. I'm not really sure, but it seems like that was like the turning point where he kind of decided to stop serving himself or trying to kill himself and started serving others. That kind of changed everything. But it definitely sort of highlighted how this movie displays that you can get caught up in the pursuit of trying to get that job or that title or making a lot of money or chasing a high from an addiction, whether it's drugs or some sort of validation or something like that. You can definitely find yourself caught up in those habits and living the same day over and over and over again. You can end up feeling hopeless and fall into despair just like Phil did. And again, having those feelings of depression and feeling like there's no point and wanting to kill yourself. And it's only when you realize that those pursuits are completely self-serving and that it's only service to others that grants you the ability to break those habits and enable you to find true happiness and find true fulfillment, that you kind of move on with your life and stop all that stuff.
Hey guys, this is Ron. Thank you for listening to our podcast, Barrel Age Flicks. We are excited to kick off the new year with upcoming episodes of VAF, The Small Batch, Sammy Selects, and The Tasting Room. If you like our show, please leave a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. Guys, this helps out enormously. Give us a follow on Instagram at Barrel Age Flicks Podcast. If you would like to send us a special film request, please contact us via Instagram and we will give you a personal shout out on the show. Our podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Audible, Pocket Cast, Spotify, CastBox, iHeartRadio, and Pandora. Special thanks to Carl Casey at White Bat Audio on YouTube for his awesome music. This guy fucking rocks. Check him out. Hope you join us for our next episode. Later, guys.